Hey everybody, welcome to Monday morning. So glad to see you here. This is going to be an awesome session because I'm not going to talk about technical stuff today. I'm not going to talk about, how you do things or building sales pages or emails or any of that stuff. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about how you can be successful no matter what you do. No matter what you do, and I'm going to give you 4 principles that you can apply. So it doesn't matter what's happened in the past. That's not necessary to even think about that. Matter of fact, let me put a couple of your comments up here on the screen. But I'm going to give you the 4 things. I think you'll agree with me that at the end of this session today, you are going to have everything you need to be successful at anything you want to do. Now, we're going to be talking about making money online. And I'll tell you, I had a bad day yesterday. We didn't do a lot of sales. And this may shock some of you, but we only sold $8,900 worth of survival food yesterday. $8,900. That's $8,900. And to some of you, you may say, well, JR, that's a pretty good day. It's not to me now. It's not to me now. Now, that used to be a good month for me when I worked for somebody else. If I could make $8,900, I would think, oh my God, I'm killing it. But now it's not a great day for us. Okay. And it could be the Ukraine thing that's going on. It could be the war stuff. I don't know. But the bottom line is my whole view of, and I'm putting some of the comments up on the screen, and my whole view of what success is has changed. And I've learned these 4 things. These 4 things are the building blocks of my entire business now. They're the things that have made me, what I think is pretty successful. I mean, we do 6 figures some days now. That's over $100,000 in a day. And it's exciting to me, but what I do now is entirely different. I don't say, well, gee, I need to make some money to pay the rent or, pay my bills, because it's all paid. Everything's paid, right? Thomas Chapo says, Lonnie cannot be starting any later than me. When you say that, Lonnie, what are you talking about? How old were you? I was 50 when I started my online business. I was 50 years old. And it looks like Lonnie here says, and I'm going to start with the steps in 1 second, but I want to knock out some of these comments. I tried Commission Hero, but wasn't able to get the help I needed. Seems like all they wanted was the cost of the program. Very disappointing. That's probably true with a lot of programs that are out there. Let's see, Lonnie. Well, I haven't found my name on the obituary list yet. Yeah, I put in there the only time it's too late is when you're dead. Okay, when you're dead, it's definitely too late. But outside of that, it's not too late. It's not. In time, you will be able to tell more about the good versus the bad stuff. JR here is just good. No BS. Just a lot of great advice. Thank you so much. Very kind of you, Thomas. But put in there, when did you start? I really like getting your comments in here. Okay, so I'm going to give you the first one. Are you ready? You can write this down if you want. I swear to God, this works. Okay? Do not plan. Yeah. Do not plan. Don't plan. Don't plan. Don't plan. Now, I'm going to make this make a little bit more sense, because some of you are going, oh no, you got to have a plan. You got to have a business plan. You got to have this. You got to have that. You don't. You shouldn't plan. And here's why you shouldn't plan: because you don't know anything. How are you going to plan if you don't know anything? How are you going to devise this success plan that's going to make you all this money online if you've never made money online? How are you going to do that? How does that work? That's the craziest thing, is when people say, well, you've got to have this exact plan as to what works. Well, that's just BS. Because if that was true, if there was this plan that you had, you could hand this plan to everybody and everybody would be successful. Why are we always trying to plan stuff? Planning is probably the most crippling thing you can do to yourself when you begin. Now, I'm not saying planning's bad, in the future. But right now, in the beginning, when you're trying to make money online, to sit down and to come up with this plan that's going to make everything work is insanity. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist. Let me tell you what I own right now. I own a survival food company. We sell survival foods. We sell emergency foods. I own some courses. I own email earning system. I own Digital Cash Academy. I own Ecom Road. I own numerous courses. I'm not going to sit there and list them all. None of that was planned. Not a one of them. Now, why were they not planned? Well, because all of my training courses were teaching people how I did stuff in my food company. I didn't have a food company in the beginning. I didn't start with a food company. I never intended to sell survival food. I started off selling cell phone cases. I just started, and that is the key. I just started, okay? So that is number 2, is just start. Just start. Quit this planning crap. It's the most crippling thing I've ever seen anybody do, is to sit there and plan. Colonel Sanders, 65, Learjet inventor, 48, Julia Child's TV show, 50. Right. Paul says all these people started late. So number 1 is don't plan, because you can't. You can't plan something that you haven't already done or that you have deep knowledge in. And if you had deep knowledge, you probably wouldn't need to plan anyhow. So quit the planning crap. I'm so tired of hearing people say, well, I've got to get just the right plan. Once my plan is all set up, then I'm going to go ahead and start working on this. No, just go ahead and start working. People say, where do I start? I say, throw a rock. Wherever it lands, that's where you start. Just start, okay? Where did I start? Okay, so I wanted to make some money online. So I went to eBay and I started looking around at what was selling. And one of the things that sold more than anything else, according to all the stats I could find in 2009, and I'm going back to 2009, was cell phone cases. That was the number 1 selling item on eBay. So I said, well, I'll sell some cell phone cases. Now, I didn't do well at it. I lost money. I had a bunch of inventory left over, but it didn't matter because I started. I just started. And if you just start, guess what? You start learning things. More doors open up, more windows open up, more possibilities open up, okay? If you just start. But the problem is everybody's trying to plan and then start, and it doesn't work that way. It works like this. You just start doing something. There's too many things. If I were to tell you everything that I do, you would say, well, that's too many things to even know. It's not. You will learn them along the way. You're going to pick them up, gradually. You're going to pick up all these things. It's so funny. Sometimes I'll have conversations with my wife, and we both work in digital marketing, and we both do pretty much the same kinds of stuff, though we have different niches. And if anybody else were to hear our conversation, you would know what we were talking about. It would sound like insanity. You would say, well, what are those 2 people talking about? Let's see here. Let me see what we got. Paul says, J.R. Fisher, 8 years to overnight success. Yeah. Well, actually, it's been how many years? 2009. This is 2022. So we're going on 13 years now, 13 years. And I will tell you in the beginning, and I don't want to ruin some of my steps. No, I don't want to ruin some of my steps. But I started off selling cell phone cases, okay? That was my first attempt to make money online. It didn't do well. And if it doesn't do well, don't worry about it, okay? Now, the next thing I'll tell you, and this is still in number 2, when I say just start, this is not unlike going to the gym. This is not unlike playing chess. This is not unlike learning how to make a web page. And here's why they're all similar, is because you're going to have failures. Okay, you're going to have things that don't work out. Okay, so number 2 is going to be devise a plan once you've learned some things. Okay, once you've learned some things, once you've learned to do a couple of things. Now, I go to the gym, okay, and I have missed days at the gym. Can you believe that? I've actually missed a day at the gym. But I didn't say, oh, I've missed this day, so I can never go to the gym again because I missed a day. That's insanity if I were to say it that way. And yet a lot of people do that. A lot of people will try to make some money online and they can't. They'll buy a program or they'll do a thing and they go, oh, that didn't work, so I guess I can't make money online. No, that one thing didn't work. No, I don't need to quit going to the gym. I just missed a day. You've got to quit basing all of the future on a few little mistakes, a few little failures, stuff like that. Then you can devise a plan. That's number 2. Okay, you're going to devise a plan on what you learn. And here's the other part you're not going to want to hear for number 2. You need to work every single day. Every single day. Yes, 7 days a week, 30 days out of the month, you need to work. I'm not saying you need to work 8 to 12 hours a day, but you can't let it go. You can't say, well, you know what? I don't want to work on the weekends. Bull crap. You got to work on the weekends. You got to work at nights. This is what it takes. People don't want to hear that. People want to hear that they can work 4 hours a week and make millions of dollars. That's BS, guys. It's never happened. It's never going to happen. Get it out of your head. If I can get your head straight in this one training session today, and you can understand what I'm trying to tell you, then of course you're going to do really, really well. And that one thing that really kills people, and I see it happen time and time and time again, is that they'll miss a day at the gym, or they won't make money on one of the ads they ran. Okay. Or whatever, was there's some failure. Okay. Let's see. It's only too late if you quit. Yeah. Oh, gosh, this is so close to my heart, because I know I have a lot of failures. Guys, if you had seen all the failures I had, if you'd seen all the times I wondered if I could make payroll, if you had seen all that, you would say, well, gee, he deserves to make some money now. You would have empathy for me, right? It is hard, okay? And if you don't want to hear that it's hard, don't listen to this video, because anything other than that is not a truth. A truth is it's hard to do, and it's hard for a reason, because if it wasn't hard, everybody would be successful, and there'd be no definition for success. Success wouldn't be a thing. That wouldn't be a word in our vocabulary if everybody could do it. And the reason that the successful people can do it is because they can do the really hard, difficult, boring, mundane things, and they can do it every single day, and they can show up every day when things aren't going well, when things aren't working out. They still show up. They still come. Okay, I go to the gym sometimes, and I'm 62 now, and sometimes it hurts. It hurts bad. I have a friend I was talking to on the phone last night. He's been my friend since I was 13, 14 years old. And we're still friends. He's an incredibly successful person, multi-millionaire. He lives in Memphis, Tennessee. And if you don't know anything about Memphis, this is where we grew up. Steve and I grew up in Memphis. And Steve, if you're listening, shout out to Steve. I'm very proud of him. But we grew up in a really bad neighborhood. Okay, there were drugs, and there was fighting, and there was violence, and that's what we grew up in. Okay, and maybe that was what was helpful for me. Maybe living in that environment helped me out, because later on, when somebody said something was difficult or tough or it hurts, I was like, oh no, that's nothing. You have no idea. I mean, when you walked outside your house there, it was dangerous. Okay, and I was one of the people that was dangerous, and he was too. We were both dangerous people. But we've since grown. And he says, now I try to be kind to everybody. There were the odds of me and him and another guy, this friend of ours named Pat, the odds of any of us being successful were almost zero. Steve was a 10th grade dropout. Pat was a 10th grade dropout. I did get through high school, but I mean, the odds of any of us doing well were zero. I mean, it was just zero. So the next thing I want to tell you is don't hang on to all those things that were so terrible for you in life. They don't matter. They just don't matter. Okay, it's irrelevant. Paul says, I think it's important that you invested in training and kept current annually. You didn't rely on free information. Oh no, I've paid so much money in training. It's craziness. Thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars in training. And I'll get to that in 1 second too. There's another point to that. A successful person is the one that kept on trying. It's so true, guys. I mean, we hear these little analogies all the time, like the guy who hits the most home runs is the guy who strikes out the most, or, we'll see a guy in a ring, fighting MMA, and you go, oh my God, he's really a tough guy. No, he's not. He's not tough in that ring. He's not talented in that ring. He was tough at 5 o'clock in the morning every day when he showed up at the gym and practiced. That's when he was tough. That's when he was putting in the work. The actual fight is easy because he did all the time in the gym. And I'm trying to think of the saying. I think it is something that those who go through pain in times of peace are the ones who will shed the least blood on the battlefield at times of war. In other words, it's all preparation. It's all doing these boring, horrible things every single day that the average person just does not want to do. They do not want to go through daily pain. I have a relative that told me the other day, she said that, well, I don't want to get up every day and have to do things I don't want to do. That's exactly what you need to do to be successful. Okay, we've gotten through two of these things, and I want to expand upon them. So let me get to my third one here. And just I want to, once again, let me just reiterate, in number 2, it was to devise a plan based on what you learn, but please don't let a failure in a single day or a missed day at the gym stop you from going forward. Please don't do that. Okay. And the next thing is number 3, continue to learn. Continue to learn. This is one of the biggest things that's helped me because when I started out in 2009, I couldn't type and I didn't know how to send an email. Okay, that's where I was at. That was my starting point. So I was dumb. I didn't know anything. But it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me because I knew I was of average intelligence and I could learn things. You're probably the same way. The only thing that's preventing you from being wildly successful is that daily grind, that 7 days a week daily grind. And I'm going to hit that 7 days a week thing, and nobody wants to hear it. But last night I was working. Saturday I was working. I didn't work all day. No, I didn't work all day. I may have worked a couple hours some of those days. But the point is, I didn't let up, because if you start taking breaks, that break becomes longer and longer. That break that was just Sunday turns into Saturday, Sunday. And then it turns into Friday night, Saturday, and Sunday. And then it turns into, well, I don't need to do anything on Friday because I'm at my other job right now. You can't do it, guys. Pretty soon you're going to drop it. And the reason you're going to drop it is because you kept shorting the amount of effort to put into it. And when you kept shorting the amount of effort, you kept getting less and less results. You kept getting more failures because you were shorting yourself. So number 3 is continue to learn. But keep in mind, the reason you want to do this is because things change. They change every day online. They really do. New things come out. New programs come out, new ways of doing things, new ways of doing ads. All these things change. Okay. So you've got to continue to learn stuff. If you continue to learn stuff, then you're going to stay on top of this stuff. You're going to be good. Sorry, I got a phone that's going off over here in the background. I really apologize for that. A price will be paid or be left behind. You need to realize that no one's going to hand it to you. DWEIT. He's always got a cool acronym. What do you got, Paul? Do whatever it takes. Yes, whatever it takes. By the way, I think I was in the sister city, Chicago. Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, Memphis. Let me get back to Memphis real quick, and then I'm going to talk about this learning thing. Memphis, the statistics for last year, if you think that you've got a rough city, and this is the city I grew up in, 332 murders in 2021, 332. Some say it's 334. The actual statistic was 332. Now, you say, well, Chicago had like over 700. Yeah, but what is the population of Chicago? Let's see here. I want to look this up so I have this right. Population of Chicago. Okay, let's see here. 2.71 million in 2019. So we're going to round it and say 3 million people. They had 700 murders. That's horrible. That's terrible, right? Memphis had 332 with only 500,000 people. That's pretty bad, isn't it? 27% of their population is below the poverty line. I was that 27%. That was me, okay? Stop with this, looking at all this negative stuff, and I'm going to get to that in just a second. Let me continue on with the training part. I want you to get trained. I want you to learn things. I want you to get good at things, but I want you to be careful. I want you to follow people who are doing what you want to do and are successful at it and are continually doing it. Okay, that's what I want you to do. I don't want you to follow every Yahoo that comes out with a course. Okay, how long have they been doing it? How much money have they made? I've been doing this going on 13 years now. 13 years. My first year and a half was not successful, so maybe we'll push that aside. But after that, I did okay. I can pay my bills. I can go where I want, when I want. I can wear what I want. I can drive what I want. I can travel to any part of the world that I want. It would not be Ukraine right now. I feel so sorry for those people, man. That is such a messed up situation. But I think that's what I consider success. I consider success when you can do what you want. Epic instrumental music. Hello, everyone. What did I miss? You'll have to go back to the beginning to get the rest of this, but I think you're really going to enjoy it. So this learning thing, how can you learn? You can go to conventions. You can listen to webinars. You can buy courses. And you know what? I don't think I've ever wasted money on a course ever. And I've bought courses that made me no money. Now, how could that be? Because I learned what didn't work. Okay. So if I got a course and the material was crappy, I learned stuff from it. I got something out of that. I learned that the things in the course didn't work, or I learned that the instructor was crappy, or I learned that I would never buy anything from that person again. That's okay to learn those things. Paul says, I look back on my old crew, and like you, some did succeed and others didn't. I think you make that decisions and finally decide to leave and break the cycle of mediocrity. That's very true. That's very true. And, you know, I would say most of the people I grew up with either are dead or in jail or are wildly successful. That's the only two directions they really went. It's kind of funny, right? Matter of fact, 3 out of 4 of my best friends dropped out of high school. 3 out of 4 of my best friends dropped out of high school. 2 of those 3 are wildly more successful than I. Okay, hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, hundreds of millions. I did okay. Okay, I've sold millions of dollars online. I've done okay. But the point is, none of us had our future decided upon by our past. Okay, and I want to get into that and just a little bit deeper into that in just a second. But I do want to go over this third step here. And this third step is about learning. Now, I've talked about learning. Learning is important. Oh my gosh, you got to learn. You got to go to webinars. You got to go to seminars. You got to buy stuff. You got to buy programs. You got to get training. You got to buy coaching. You got to do whatever. However, do not spend the majority of your time learning. You should spend about 5% of your time learning and 95% of your time implementing. Are you doing that? Or are you going online, watching videos all day long, taking course after course after course, and never implementing anything? That's what most people do. And they go, well, my goodness, I'm not successful and I bought every course there is. I'm not successful and I bought every course there is. Now that's insane, because that's not what makes you successful. I had somebody one day says, I just bought your course and I'm really looking forward to being successful. And I said to him, I said, buying my course is not going to make you successful. I can guarantee it's not going to make you successful. What you do with the material could make you very successful if you don't quit, if you keep going to the gym. Okay. And I use the gym as an example because most people have a really hard time with that one. They can start going to the gym. They can buy memberships. They can try to work out, but then what happens? They quit. And when you quit, you just lose all the momentum. It's all gone. Paul says the biggest thing to learn is to embrace change. By the way, we finally moved when we found a dead guy in a parking lot, and guy got his knee capped in front of Dad's store. Yeah, you know, and Paul, you know, where I grew up in Memphis, it's just not good. And if you're in Little Rock, that's pretty bad too. So yeah. So learning, 5% of the time. 5% of the time learning, 95% implementing. 95% implementing. I will tell you, I've learned a lot from training. I've learned a lot more from implementing. I learn a whole lot more when I try to do something and it works or it doesn't work, because that's the only 2 ways it can go. When you try something, it's either going to work or it's not going to work. Okay, there's no in between. Okay, but I've learned a lot more from implementing than I ever did from training. But you need training so it can send you in a direction to do something. Okay, so that's our number 3, is that you have to continually learn. You have to continually gather this information, because it changes, because there's new things, because you just got to do it. You got to do it. Okay, so, and I've got a little bonus at the end too. The next thing I'm going to tell you, which is number 4, you're not going to want to hear this. I tell you a lot of things you're not going to want to hear, don't I? It's kind of funny, but it's the truth. Oh, one thing I did not say to you, which I should say to you, is if you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do so. Please do me that favor. Do that and ring this bell. Turn on all bell notifications so you're notified each and every single time I go live. And give me a thumbs up if you would too. I've got to promote my channel. I got to do all that stuff. Let's see. By the way, how did Casey course go? Very well, Paul. I didn't stick that up on the screen because I've got my notes in front of me now. But number 4, you ready for number 4? Write this down, because this is holding a lot of you back. Let me get a sip here real quick. This is the one thing that holds a lot of people back. This is the one thing that they spend all their time working on, and all it does is hold them back. Are you ready for it? Here it is. You don't need a mentor. No. And I got to tell you guys, every single week, I have several people approach me and say, I want you to be my mentor. Now, what does that mean exactly? What does that mean exactly? I think it means I want you to do all the work and I want to just copy that and be successful. In other words, I don't want to do the work. I don't want to put in the effort. I want to have some guy tell me how to do everything. Now, do I mentor people? I have in the past of my choosing. Okay, so I'll see somebody, I'll say, hey, I think I can help you with that. Let me give you a couple pointers. I'm not going to adopt somebody as another child. I already have 2 kids, okay? And I'm not going to take them under my wing and go, let me make you successful. Why should I do that? And besides that, it often doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work because if somebody's looking for somebody else to give them all the information, that means they're too lazy to work it out on their own. You don't need a mentor. Elon Musk did not have a mentor. He's the richest guy in the world. Now, how are you going to argue with that? How are you going to need to tell me that you need a mentor when the richest guy in the world didn't need a mentor? How are you going to do that? Mark Zuckerberg didn't have a mentor. You can love him or hate him, whatever. I don't especially like him, but he's successful. And if you're looking for success, you say, well, did he have a mentor? No, he didn't have a mentor. Didn't have one. What about Albert Einstein? He's a pretty smart guy, right? No mentor. Matter of fact, I think you're going to find that some of the most successful people in the world do not have mentors. That gets in your way because it impedes your free thinking. It prevents you from learning more. It prevents you from taking risks. Because there's some mentors that are not going to think the way you do, right? And if that's the case, maybe there's another direction you need to go in, and the mentor may prevent that. You don't need a mentor. You don't need one. It's okay to hire a coach if they really know what they're doing. Coaching is an interesting thing. I did it for a while and I didn't like it. And I got to where I was charging about $2,000 an hour. And I decided that $2,000 was not enough for my hour. Now you may say, well, that's arrogant or that's stuck up or my goodness, JR, that's terrible. The only way I'll mentor somebody now is for free. I'll help somebody for free, but I don't want to charge somebody because you can't pay me what it's worth in my time to work on my own business. Understand, when I say yes to one thing, I say no to another, and so do you. So if I say, yes, I'm going to mentor you, that means I'm saying, no, I'm not going to work on my business, right? So why would I do that? Well, just to be a nice guy, JR. Well, I am a nice guy and I do help people, but I do it for free. I don't charge, okay? Now my courses, if you want to learn more, grab one of my courses. They can teach you a lot. Let me see here. I'm going to get back to some of these comments here real quick, guys. And then I've got a bonus thing at the end here, a real bonus at the end that's going to help you out a lot. By the way, okay, yeah, I answered that one. I just didn't put it on the screen. What personality traits and tactics did your successful buds do that separated them from the herd? I'm going to say the number one tactic is they worked harder than anybody else. Pat ended up working literally 7 days a week, 12, 14 hours a day. Steve still does that. He takes off Sundays. He always takes off Sundays, but I'd be willing to bet he does some work on Sundays, even though he doesn't admit to it. So hard work is it. It's really hard to beat somebody who's going to outwork you. I mean, if you think about it, if they show up earlier than you and they stay later than you and they educate themselves more than you, bottom line, and Lonnie says that's a good question. But that is it, hard work. And that's not what people want to hear. That's not what the gurus are selling you guys. The gurus are telling you that they've got the answer and you should buy it from them and then you're going to be successful. Nothing is a bigger lie than that. Nothing is a bigger lie than I've got the answer and I'm going to sell it to you. Now, I've got courses, I've got training, and it's good training. And you can buy it and you can apply it. But just buying my course without the application is not going to do you any good. I promise you, it will not guarantee success. Paul says action speaks louder than words. You can't succeed on what you're going to do. No, by the way, started videos and we'll be posting this week. Paul, we're going to hold your feet to the fire. I've been waiting for that, buddy. I've been waiting. I want to see it. I want to see it finally, everything coming together. Everything comes together when you work, doesn't it? That's when everything comes together, right? That's when your book comes out. That's when your web page is published. That's when your course is sold, is when you do something. Now, I've given you the 4 things. They on surface are simple. There's simple things. There's nothing complicated. There's nothing anybody with average intelligence couldn't do in those 4 steps. However, they're extremely difficult to continue doing, okay? And if you force yourself when you don't feel like it, if you really, truly force yourself when you don't feel like it, you have no idea how successful you can be. You have no idea. I had a bad day yesterday at my food company. I'm not talking about my courses or anything else, but about one of my companies, $8,900. I had a bad day. Bad day. I would have never thought that was a bad day before. Okay. I would have never thought that. I would have thought that was an enormous day. It's not, because your benchmark will move. Your benchmark will move. You know, my son recently graduated from school, and he works at the Cleveland Clinic, and he's making good money, and so is his wife. And if he had made half that amount of money prior to that, he would have been totally happy with it. What happens is your benchmark moves. So when I see $8,900, I'm like, it's okay. I mean, I can pay my bills, but it's not what I wanted. Now, it's not like that $8,900 is going to make or break me. It's not, okay? Because my bills are already paid. They're already paid. But it's just in my head, I've got these goals I want to do, these things I want to do. And when it's below what I want to do, then I kind of look at it, right? Let's see here. The Queen's Within. Good to see you. All right, let's see here. I've always wondered if I was lacking because I didn't have a mentor, though I didn't see the necessity to look for one. So true. You don't need one. You don't need one. I feel leery of following people because sometimes mentors get a power complex. They do. And what the heck is a mentor anyhow? Because I mean, I could tell you every single thing I do, and it may not work for you. You may have a different way of doing it. You know, Frank Kern is funny. I love Frank Kern. I think he's a great guy. And if you don't know him, you could look him up. But he could give you every single thing he does, and you could do the exact same things, and you would not be successful. Why is that? Well, because you're not Frank Kern. You're not him. You got to do your thing. You've got to learn this stuff along the way. Don't let not having a mentor prevent you from this. Number one, right? The number one thing I said, don't let not having a plan prevent you from succeeding. Having a plan is just nothing. It doesn't mean a thing, right? When I started out, I started selling cell phone cases. I had no plan. I had no plan on owning a survival food company or selling courses on email marketing. I didn't even know what email marketing was. How could I have a plan for that? Quit thinking that you need a plan. You don't need a plan. You don't need a mentor. You need to do these 4 steps. You need to do these 4 steps. Queens Within says, exactly. You have to get a success plan that is tailor-made for your situation. And yes, and you know who tailor makes that plan? You do. You do. You figure out what you're interested in. You figure out what path you want to go down. You figure out the things that make you tick. And guess what? Those are the things that are going to make you successful, not somebody else's plan. The biggest spiritual masters had no mentor. No, you don't need a mentor. You don't need it. It's okay to take advice. And let me tell you who gets mentors. You want me to tell you who gets mentors? Because I mentor some people for free. When I see somebody and they've got unbelievable potential and they're putting in tons of work and they're just really working at it hard, and I see something that they're doing that I know they could improve on, I'm going to approach them. I'm going to go to them and say, hey, I see you're working really hard. I see you're doing a lot of stuff. This is the one thing that I would change if I were you, and I think it's going to work out better for you. Just thought I'd put that bug in your ear. I have done that hundreds and hundreds of times with people, hundreds and hundreds of times. So if you want a mentor, you're not going to get a good one. You're not going to get a good mentor. It's not going to happen. If you want to have a mentor, go out there and put forth effort. Show the world that you're working. Show how hard you do. And mentors will show up and they'll just suggest stuff to you. They'll just be on your doorstep one day. They'll just say to you, hey, you know, that's the thing that I can help you out with. That's what they're going to do. See, how is the dehydrated product developing going? I'm not doing that a whole lot right now, Paul. And the reason I'm not is because I can't get supplies. Right now, you know, somebody said to me the other day, well, you want to sell your food to this country or that country or this country. I don't have enough supplies to supply the United States right now. If I got more sales, I couldn't fill the sales. So right now, back burner. I mean, I can't even get cans for some of my products right now. So we're selling a whole lot more than we can supply. So there's no point in adding more products at this point. So that's why I'm not doing that, just so you know. Here's the other part. Here's the other part. Let me get my notes here. Let me get my notes. Okay. Here's the truth, guys. This is the truth. I want you to listen to me. This is the big bonus. The future does not care about your past, nor does the present. Now, what do I mean by that? The future does not care about your past, nor does the present. Don't blame everything that's going on now or everything that might go on in the future on what happened to you in the past. It's irrelevant. The future doesn't care about that. There are way too many successful people that started off in bad situations. I gave you an example of mine, my friends, when I was in high school, the neighborhood we grew up in, the town we grew up in. That has nothing to do with your future. It has nothing to do with your present. It was just something in your past. That's it. That's it. You can't let it affect you any longer. You got to just kick out that crutch and walk. People use that crutch their entire lives. They go, well, what could you expect of me because of the situation I was in, because of the things I had to go through? I couldn't do any better. That's just not true. See, what systems have you put into place to help you daily and stay on track? Wow, I have so many of those, Paul. That would be a whole nother video. I have so much automation to my business at this point. And by the way, that $8,900 we did yesterday, I didn't do any work for it. None. Zero, zip. It's just money that came in. Now, truth being told, I didn't do any work yesterday for it, but for years I've done other work for it that built up to that. Okay. That's what you didn't see. What you didn't see was me staying home on the weekends working on stuff. What you didn't see was me staying up to 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning working on stuff. You didn't see any of that. You just saw the $8,900 yesterday from the Survival Food Company. Okay. That's, and once again, I want to impress upon you, that was a bad day. That was a very bad day. But the point is, you build on all these things as they go. You do not dwell on the past. Now, I look at the past as things I was very lucky to have. I had a tough childhood. I had abusive parents. I had all that good stuff. I had, a bad neighborhood. I got in trouble. I got arrested as a kid. I got in a lot of trouble. And I look at all of that as a benefit. Because it makes me tougher now. So that now when I have to sit there and edit videos for 2 or 3 hours, I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this. Why? Remember when you were in the street and fighting? Remember the things you went through when you were a kid? I look at that, I'm like, that's beneficial as heck. People who've never had any problems, people who've never had any turmoil, people who've never had anything go wrong don't know how to handle it when it happens. Okay, so all this negative stuff that you're hanging on to and that you're whining about and crying about, they're extremely helpful if you allow it to be, and they're extremely harmful if that's what you choose to do with it. The future and the present does not care about your past. It's you that does. You got to stop that. Okay. I'd love to hear any of your comments about this training today. This is something I've really been wanting to talk to you guys about because, it's so many technical things, and you guys try technical things and you try sales pages and emails and all these things, but there's more to it than that. It's your mindset. Okay. It's how you're looking at things. It's what you're doing every single day. It's the effort you're putting forth. Those are the things that are going to make the big changes. Okay. All the other stuff is knowledge, and you need it, but you need this. You need this training session today more than anything you can imagine. You need these 4 things. You need these so bad, and you may not understand it. What breaks my heart is to see talented people waste their talent and not do anything, but they are first to complain that they aren't successful. Yeah, but anybody who is successful can see right through it. I can see right through it when people say they want to do stuff. I have a person that is or warranty guy on our house here, and he wants to do stuff online, and he screws up the emails I send him, and he says he's an entrepreneur and he has a job working for somebody else. That's not the case. You don't. Okay, you're not an entrepreneur if you work for somebody else. I got news for you. That's not the definition of an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur goes out on their own and makes their own money. He doesn't do that, and he screws up what he does doing his job. And I'm not talking bad about this company or anything. It's an individual. Okay, it's an individual. Didn't say his name, but bottom line is I don't see it. He doesn't try hard enough. He doesn't put in the effort. God, effort is it, guys. And once again, let me leave you with this. The future and the present does not care about your past. You've got to quit caring about it too. I hope that works out for you. Hope this is helpful to you today. Let's see here. What else I got in here? Epic instrumental music. I completely respect what you say about not needing a mentor. However, here's a however. However, I have this idea that any way I can cut the learning curve with some help to shorten the time frame, ideas. Yeah, get training. I mean, I've got courses. If you like what I've got to say, look at my courses. Other people have courses that are good out there, and you're going to run across some bad courses and some bad training. There's two ways to be successful online. It's put in tons and tons of hours and learn everything, or spend some money and learn from somebody who's already done it. Find somebody you trust. Find somebody who's still doing it. Don't buy a course from somebody who's not still selling stuff online if that's what you're doing. The Queens Within, your health is important also, 100%. That friend of mine that I talked about in the beginning of this training today, his health is failing. He can't walk very far. I go to the gym as much as I can. I work out. I'm not in great shape. I'm in pretty good shape. I can do over 200 push-ups, and that makes me feel good. Yeah, if you don't have health, you're screwed. And besides that, it's hard to have a good mental attitude when you don't feel well. Yeah, we'll leave you with that. Guys, so I thank you so much for being here today. I really do. You had great comments. You put a lot of stuff in here that is very helpful to the session. Let me see what else we got here. In the 4-Hour Work Week, he talks about building systems and had to pay the price in the beginning. There it is. Bottom line, quit having a pity party and take action. 100%, Paul. It's very true. Feel free to put any comments in there. If you're not watching this live, you can certainly put comments in the comment section below on the video. Lonnie, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here, buddy. It's really nice to have you here. I love each and every one of you. I really do. I hope I'm not too harsh today, but I want to tell you the truth. Thank you for your time. Have a great week. Thank you so much. Epic instrumental music, and check out Epic Instrumental Music. I don't know if you have a channel on here or not. Guys, subscribe to their channel. Once again, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Hit that button down there, turn it from red to gray. Don't forget to ring the bell. Turn on all bell notifications so you're notified each and every single time I go live or I upload a video. Right now, I'm uploading 3 videos a week and doing about 3 or 4 lives. If you like this training, share it with somebody else. Please give me a thumbs up. Clicking that little thumbs up means a lot to me, guys. And if you would just do that, it takes you a second to click it, and it really, really helps a lot. By the way, I love how Elon Musk provides internet satellite for Ukraine. That guy's amazing. He is amazing, and we all love Elon, or at least I do, okay? And I think he's a really good example of hard work. Guys, that's what it is. Take those 4 steps today, apply them, and do some hard work. Thank you so much for being here, and I will see you next time, which will probably be Wednesday.